All right, number two, in the same way that we did number one, we're going to come up with either a system of equations and try to solve for the two missing values. So Amy needs to mail a USB drive to a friend. She uses 43-cent stamps and 7-cent stamps to pay $1.92 in postage. How many of each stamp did she use? So I'm going to come up with two variables. I'm going to use E for expensive stamp, and then I'm going to use C for the cheaper stamp. So the stamp that costs 43 cents, number of 43-cent stamps, and then C will be the number of 7-cent stamps. Okay, so I know that if I add E plus C, actually, I need to do the cost because this is only the number of stamps. So if I do 4, I need to do the cost. So I need to do 0.43 times E times the number of expensive stamps plus 0.07 times C, the number of the cheaper stamp. That total will give me $1.92. Okay, so I have one equation. She used 43-cent stamps and 7-cent stamps. How many of each did she use? Okay, so here, I guess more than anything, we don't have enough information to come up with another equation. So we're going to do some trial and error. So we're going to see how many 43-cent stamps can she use before she goes over the amount. So we're going to just try some numbers. What if she used all 43-cent stamps? So I'm going to use the calculator to just kind of speed this up. So I'm going to say y equal, and so I'm going to let it multiply and continue to add. So I'm going to say 0.43, and the calculator inputs the variable x. So I want to do E, but I'm going to do x. So 0.43 times x, and I'm going to look at the table. So I'm going to do second graph to see the table. So what this is doing, it's saying if you use one stamp, I'm just looking at these numbers. So if I use one stamp, it's going to cost 43 cents. 2 stamps, it's going to cost 86. 3 stamps, it's going to cost 129. Okay, and then if I use 4 stamps, I'm at 172. And if I use 5 stamps, that's too much. Okay, because we only go up to $1.92. So I want to see, is it possible for me to use 4 of the 43-cent stamps, which is going to cost $1.72. Can I get the remaining amount with the 7-cent stamps? And then if not, I will go down to 3. So I got two big options, and then I can go from there. So I'm going to say, what if we use 4? So let's say E equals 4, for example. And we're just guessing here. So guess and check. I'm going to plug in 4 for E. That's going to give me a total of 172 that we can see. 1.72 plus 0.07 C, and that should equal 1.92. If I was to subtract 1.72 from both sides, that will leave me with 0.07 for the cheaper stamp, and and that will leave me with 20 cents here. So in order to fulfill this, I would divide by 0.07. And that will give us C equals, and this would be like 2 point something. So 7 times 3 is 21, and that's 20. So it doesn't go in there equally. So we're looking for a whole number, and we get a decimal point. So like if I was to go to the calculator, and I do 0.20 divided by 0.07, we're not getting a whole number. I can't use 2 in a partial stamp. I have to use a whole stamp. So that tells me that maybe using 4 of the expensive stamps is not the right number. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to try 3. So if I use 3 stamps and use $1.29, okay. So I'm going to erase this part. And now we're going to guess and say, okay, E equals 3. And we're going to see how this one works out. So I know if I use 3 of the expensive stamps, that's going to cost $1.29. So 1.29 plus 0.07 times C equals 192. We're going to subtract 129 from both sides. So we'll go to 0, bring down the 0.07C. We'll do some borrowing. That'll give us 3, 8 minus 2 is 6. So we get 0.63. Now at this point, I know that 7 times 9 is 63. So if I divide by 0.07, we get that C equals 9, and that is a whole number. So this is what we want. So in this case, we weren't able to come up with 2 equations. So given the 1, we just use guess and check. So that's a problem solving method that you can use. So what we found out is that using 3 of the expensive stamps, so let's double check that. So if I use 0.43 times 3 plus 0.07 times 9, does that equal 1.92? Okay, and we do. So that means we're going to use 3 of the expensive stamps, 9 of the more expensive stamps.